It happens every day. People assume they know the truth. They think they have the right version of the story. I know what I saw. Trust me, I was there. This is what really happened. They speak with confidence. They speak with cold certainty, as if their words are weapons, truth forged in fire. And for a moment, you believe them. Those words became your reality. Then, someone else appears. Same event, a different story. Just as sure, just as unshakable. Now, you're trapped between two impossible realities. Two truths that refuse to coexist. Who's lying? Who's mistaken? The answer? Maybe neither. Since the moment we are born, we begin to drift, each of us in a different direction. Some are raised in silence, others in noise. Some are taught to question everything, others are taught to obey. One child grows up with chaos, another with structure and discipline. One learns that love must be earned, another learns it should never be trusted. Every laugh, every wound leaves its imprint, not just on the body, but on the mind. By the time we learn to speak, we're already shaped by the environment. Our beliefs, our instincts, our sense of right and wrong, they're not born with us. They're programmed through culture, religion, family, and pain. That's why, when two people watch the same event unfold, they don't see the same thing. They can't. Each mind is a lens, and every lens distorts. One man sees defiance, another sees courage. One sees justice, another sees revenge. Same scene, different minds, different truths. We like to imagine our memory as a camera, our perception as a mirror, but neither is true. Your mind doesn't record reality, it edits it. You remember what felt important. You erase what didn't. You exaggerate, you soften, you invent, you forget. What you see is filtered. What you hear is interpreted. What you feel is colored by everything you've ever survived. That's why truth is never truly objective. It's personal. When someone tells you what they know, they aren't handing you a fact. They're handing you an opinion, a piece of their inner world. Doesn't matter how confident they might look, doesn't matter how certain they are, their certainty is not proof. It's emotion wrapped in language. Unfortunately, this is where most people fall. We confuse confidence with truth. We hear a steady voice and mistake it for evidence. We hear the same story told twice and assume it must be real. We see a crowd agree, and we silence our doubt. The danger is not that people lie. The danger is that they believe what they're saying. Because most of the time, people don't even realize they're lying. They heard something repeated so many times that they believe it's the truth. And if you're not careful, you'll believe it too. Because the human brain doesn't just process information, it absorbs, it mirrors, it wants to fill the gaps. Just think about gossip. Someone starts telling you a juicy story, maybe about a friend, a coworker, someone you both know. Then, right when it gets good, they stop talking. They say, "I probably shouldn't say more. You didn't hear this from me." Now, you're hooked. You need to know the rest. Your brain starts filling in the blanks, imagining details, assuming the worst or the most exciting. And without realizing it, you stop asking the important question, is this even true? You don't care if it's fact or just their opinion. You just want the ending. And that's exactly how perception gets hijacked, by the urge to know, not the need to understand. So when someone hands you a neatly folded version of the truth, your mind grabs it, hungry to settle the chaos. But that version, it may be poisoned with their trauma. It may be stitched together by their bias. It may leave out what they couldn't face or what they needed to believe to sleep at night. Remember, every opinion is a survival story, a version of the truth. This is why you must be ruthless with perception. So do not confuse someone's clarity for accuracy. Do not confuse someone's volume for validity. Do not confuse someone's hurt for honesty. Their version of truth isn't worthless, though. It's revealing. But not about the event, not about the truth, but about them. It shows what they emphasize with. It shows you what they fear, what they omit, what they regret, what they defend, what they're still trying to justify. So listen, but don't absorb. Question, but don't adopt. Because once you let someone else's story replace your own vision, you become a character in their world, not the author of yours. Nowadays, we live in the age of constant interpretation. Truth used to feel like a destination, something you arrived at. Now it's a battlefield, everyone armed with screenshots, headlines, hot takes, and hashtags, each one convinced they've seen the real story. But what happens when a society no longer agrees on what's real? You've seen it. A video goes viral, just 10 seconds long, no context, no background, a man yelling at a woman. Within minutes, thousands of people leap into judgment. He's abusive. She provoked him. This is fake. Each side convinced they're right. Each side willing to fight. A few hours later, the full video is released. Turns out it was a scene from a film shoot. Actors, scripted lines, not real. But by then, it's too late. The outrage already spread. The reputation's already burned. The truth, buried under the noise. No one apologized. No one corrected themselves. Because it was never about truth. It was about validation. And that's the crisis of today. We no longer seek to understand. We seek to confirm. Confirmation bias isn't just a glitch in our brain. It's the fuel that drives online culture. It's what the algorithm feeds. It's what gets the most likes. You don't get rewarded for being careful. You get rewarded for being first, for being loud, for being dramatic. What does that mean? It means reality is no longer built on facts. It's built on narratives, on angles, on edits, on what feels true. We're watching the collapse of a shared reality, a moment in history where people no longer live in different neighborhoods. They live in different truths. So why does it matter? Why should we understand others' vision? Well, because if we can't even agree on what's real, we can't agree on what needs fixing. We can't solve problems we can't name. We can't connect through walls of interpretation. And this isn't just an internet problem, it's a human one. You'll see it in families, in friendships, in courtrooms, in countries. Two people looking at the same thing, seeing completely different worlds, and both convinced the other one is insane. That's why today, certainty has become dangerous, and humility has become essential. Because if you don't step back and ask yourself, what if I'm wrong? What am I missing? You won't just misunderstand others, you'll misunderstand yourself. And maybe the most terrifying part, you won't even know it. You'll just keep scrolling, keep reacting, keep shouting louder, convinced your voice is clarity in a sea of confusion. When maybe, just maybe, you're part of the fog. There's something strange about the human experience. You can live your entire life and never see yourself as others do. You catch glimpses in mirrors and photos and reactions, but your full presence, the way you move through the world, the tone of your voice when you're tired, the energy you leave behind when you exit a room, you don't get to witness the effect you have. You only see others' reactions and try to piece together who you must be. But their reaction says just as much about them as it does about you. That's the trap and the truth. Reality is not a single photograph. It's a mosaic, a shifting, living mosaic built from millions of perspectives, each one shaped by memory, emotion, culture, trauma, belief. There is no single lens that captures the whole picture, only fragments. So how should we live, knowing this? Knowing that truth isn't solid, that perception lies, that stories mutate, that even the clearest memory might be a reconstruction, not a recording? Well, we live with curiosity, not judgment. We listen to understand, not just to confirm. We recognize that behind every strong opinion is a deeper story, a survival, a wound, a need. And most importantly, we hold ourselves lightly, not because truth doesn't matter, but because we don't always have it. Humility isn't weakness, it's precision, it's awareness. It's the discipline of knowing that your mind is not a perfect mirror, but a mirror with cracks, fingerprints, and old reflections still clinging to the glass. It means asking, could I be wrong? Do I really know the full story? What pain might they be carrying that I can't see? Because once you realize that nobody sees reality exactly as it is, not even you stop trying to be right all the time. You stop clinging to the illusion of certainty, and you start looking deeper, asking better questions. making fewer enemies, and maybe becoming a little more human in the process. So stay alert, speak with clarity, but listen with humility. And never forget, you don't see the world as it is. You see it as who you are.